How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massa Beer Reviews back with a gigantic beer. Not in stature, but in ABV and bigness in the form of Time and Materials Brewing. It's their unpopular opinion. Yeah, this be a triple IPA, 10% alcohol by volume, and this be packaged less than a month ago. Okay, big old hazy triple IPA. Let's dive into it. But you would be wrong. You would be wrong there. Because this is not a big old hazy triple IPA. This is a big old autumnal. You heard me right. Autumnal IPA. Let's pour that whole thing in there and get that sucker up there. Now, in the grand scheme of things, it has a haze to it, but not what you'd expect from most beers. But as far as what they read in the can here, it says this autumnal IPA is gratuitously, I couldn't say that the other day, hopped with Cascading and Crystal from our friends from 4 Star Farms in Northfield, Massachusetts. Unpopular opinion is homage. Things that make us fall in love with IPAs 10 years ago. Let us know what you think. So yeah, I mean, look at that. When I kind of did an unboxing of this and when I kind of spoke about this beer in the previous Time Materials review, I've kind of imagined what they've done here is their 10% version of like Celebration from Sierra Nevada. Because that's what I think of an autumnal, old school beer. That's pretty much Merriam-Webster Dictionary level stuff and kind of looks like that. So yeah. We're off to a fun start. Label-wise, it's cool. I can read it. How about that shit? I kind of busted their chops a little bit about the not being able to read the labels, and they changed them. That's fun. Let's get a nose. Butterscotchy vibes. So we got a little bit of off things going on here, but it's not necessarily going to be an overt negative because you're talking about a fall autumnal style beer, in that you're getting malt forwardness, which you're going for, and you're getting kind of a spicy hop, so it might not be an overt negative. Yeah, I mean, it's just there's a big caramel malt and there's a butterscotch thing going on. So when you marry those both together, you kind of get a little bit of a confectionery kind of thing going on. Not necessarily a negative. I mean, you know, off flavors are off flavors, but when you have that and this kind of combination, I'm not going to hate on it because it kind of makes sense. There's a little bit of spicy hoppiness. Doesn't come off anywhere near a 10% beer. Let's dive in. Cheers. Yeah, I mean it really is kind of a caramel butterscotch thing, and I believe it's a little bit of an off flavor, and I think it's a combination of a big caramel kind of malt. But again, I'm going to sit here and say, well, maybe it's not wanted, maybe they didn't choose to have that in this beer, but it's there. But I don't hate it because it reminds me of fall. It reminds me of colder times. There's a nice spiciness to the hop, not as big as I thought it was going to be, but it adds this kind of like almost like pseudo kind of hot toddy kind of thing minus the cinnamon kind of vibe going on. So I kind of like that. I mean, it's a big beer. You get a little punch in the back of your throat with a little bit of heat, but nothing too crazy. So it has this beautiful, like the mouthfeel is probably the coolest thing about it because it has this kind of, I didn't lose my train of thought. I'm just reassessing what I want to say right now. It has a super sultry, creamy mouthfeel to it. This is a fucking American barley wine, is what this is. And that's why I stopped and paused. Because I went into it thinking triple IPA. And so I got a little bit of kind of, you know, sneak preview in written word from the guys from Time Materials about what the beer was. And I was kind of like, okay, I built it up my brain as being something, you know, a bigger version of that Celebration that I was talking about. Wrong. This is a smaller version of an American strong ale or an American barley wine. It reminds me, it doesn't taste like their beers, but it reminds me of some of the barley wines that the guys at I Heard a Dog kind of throw out there. These big malt forward, hop aggressive kind of barley wines. But with this being 10%, is it 10%? I think it's 10. I think it's close to 10. I think it's below 10, but I think it's close. That you get that rich kind of caramel malt. You get this nice kind of northwestern kind of piney, bittering kind of hoppiness. Neither are overly aggressive. It doesn't have this overt sweetness to it, this overt caramel, that overt kind of butterscotch thing, but they're there. And then, with the way it kind of plays, and once you throw that mouthfeel into the mix there, it really does remind me more of American barley wine light than anything else. Now it reminds me of something I can't put my fingers on. I don't know. But yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's not necessarily my favorite style of beer. I'm like a lowerish ABV American barley wine. I'm going to drink American barley wine. I want to be hair on fire, balls to the wall. If I want to drink a big triple IPA, I kind of want them to be that new school hazy ilk. If I want to drink, this kind of beer, but not at this ABV, I will drink Celebration. But I dig the cut. I like it. I think it's fun. I think that butterscotch thing, while I don't think is purposeful, I think actually doesn't take away from the beer. If anything, it actually might add a little bit to it because it gives a little bit of confectionery kind of vibes to it. So once you combine that caramel sweetness with that butterscotch, it kind of makes sense in the brain. The hopping is aggressive enough to be there, but not aggressive enough to take over. Hence the reason why it kind of becomes more of a lowerish ABV American barley wine for me. And it's fun. I've had better. I've liked a lot of their brown ale they sent off. I'll post it before this goes up. It'll probably be 2 weeks before this one, I believe. It's one of the better lower ABV brown ales that I've had as of late. It's just this one's a little bit hot. A little bit hot and a little bit off for me to kind of get all super hot and bothered about. But I dig the cut. I think it's fun. That's why I love doing these, man. I'm trying to think of anything else I want to say, because I know when I do these, I try to do these as in-depth as I can, because that's the whole reason people send quote-unquote homebrew off. By the time this posts, these guys are probably not even going to be homebrewers anymore. And by that, I mean they'll probably be professional brewers. But yeah, good stuff, fun stuff. Thank you very much for sending it off, guys. A little bit of Time Materials Brewing. Like I said, go check them out in the old Instagrams, see what they're doing. They've been doing a little bit of collabs and some commercial level stuff, so yeah, you'll be seeing their stuff soon enough. So there you go. A little bit of homebrew review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it down there. If you want to talk about it, Massive Beers. If you want to check me out doing the social media stuff, Beer Massive. If you want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of American barley wine right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers.